right, welcome back to Bayou Time. Jason DeGate here. As you can see, we're now moving into our guest segment. Coming up next on our next segment, Coach Charlie Stubb, Nicholls State University. But now we have a very special guest, a native of Houma, and now the author of a best-selling book, The Divine Principle, Mr. Keith Blanchard is here, and we'll introduce Keith. Keith, welcome to the program.
Thank you, sir. Nice to see you.
And to get started off, before we talk about the book, why don't you just give our viewers a little bit background about yourself?
Well, I'm originally from here. I spent the first 24 years of my life here. And then 21 years ago, I took off to Memphis to pursue music. I have my hands in a lot of creative things, so life is pretty fun. It's pretty full as well. Okay,
and so you went off to Memphis to pursue some type of music. What type of music did you get into?
I do mostly rock and classic rock, but I also do some original stuff with my spiritual band, Lavender Soul. Now my life is coming back full circle. I'm coming back home to do this interview as well as a talk at the main library on Thursday, 7 o'clock. So,
all right, so I guess that's why you're back here.
Yeah, visit family. Right.
Very good. And let me ask you, the book, The Divine Principle, how did you switch from being a musician to getting into putting, I guess, your thoughts down on paper?
All of my life, I've been pursuing something. I've been pursuing the highest meaning. As a kid, I remember I had a set of questions inside of me. Little did I realize these questions would become the unfoldment of life. There was 4 basic questions. Where do we come from? And I don't mean necessarily our parents. Mm-hmm. Why am I here? What is my role? Who am I now? And where am I going? And these questions were impatient. They wanted the answers. But as I said, they became the unfoldment of my life. And there was a period in my life where I was going through a dark phase.
Okay.
And I found myself on my knees, so to speak, and I began to say this prayer out loud. I need to hear your voice, meaning God. And that was answered. I was thrown into a divine experience one night, coming out of sleep. I was wakened by a voice. Mm-hmm. And in this experience, there was such an amazing presence there of divinity. When I heard this voice, understand, not only did I hear it audibly, but I could smell the voice, I can taste the voice, I can see the voice. It was everything imaginable. It was what we call a superconscious experience.
Okay.
And the information that was imparted to me was given to me in what I call whole thought. It wasn't like linear fragmented thought. It was given to me as this impression. And the voice was very firm. It said, Keith, sit on your sofa, press record, begin to take notes. What would come to you in the form of thoughts, feeling, and life experiences. And over 8 years, that took shape in the book called The Divine Principle.
Okay.
And I've been working on this book and this spiritual path diligently for 13 years, and it's finally starting to happen for me.
All right. And let me ask you, when did you first publish the book?
The book was first published in 2004. It was a satisfactory cover, but we gave it a new cover, and I waited in queue for 4 years for this bestseller campaign. All right. And so the book was re-released back in, say, about 6 months ago.
Okay.
6 months ago.
All right, and I guess in writing the book, what was your purpose or what was your hope for other people, I guess your readers?
Fantastic question. To empower people.
Okay.
To a level that they can take their life and simply perfect themselves in their creative abilities to become master creators, deliberate creators, to where you can create your life at will. When I do public talks, I often ask the audience to point to themselves. Mm-hmm. So naturally, you'd point here. And if you believe in God or some higher being, and I've asked you to point to that, naturally, you point here. So it becomes synonymous. And so now we have to do the work to become conscious of that very fact. And so the work involves balancing your spiritual self with your mental self, with your emotional self, with your physical self. And once these come into a state of balance, creating your life becomes effortless. It becomes just a simple act of will.
Mm-hmm. And why is it that, I guess, why is it that you wanted to help other people with what happened with you in writing the book? I mean, I guess, why?
Well, I saw what help did for me when I was in that bad way. But also, when I was writing this information, I would begin to get prophetic glimpses, things that I've seen that have come to pass. I just saw the world in a state of needing something. And I come from a family. I had a beautiful sister who's no longer with us, and she was my greatest teacher of compassion. Mm-hmm. And I've seen her go through phases of her life where she was criticized, and I just realized that's just not the way of it. That's not how you treat people. There has to be a better way. Mm-hmm. And so I've just always been a helper. I follow my father's lead, an amazing individual, and I just like helping people. I get a charge out of seeing people happy. It validates me inside.
Okay. So, in today's world and in our culture, we hear a lot about the term self-esteem, and you use the term empowerment. Does self-esteem kind of go into that and building up yourself in order to be empowered?
I think they're exactly the same word. Yeah,
Okay.
I do. I really do.
All right.
Empowerment. I mean, you no longer need to lean on another for your happiness. Your happiness doesn't become a searching for an outside source to blame your happiness or praise, whatever. It's all about looking inside, and getting in touch with the part of you that is truly reality.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some work involved, mind you. We have to get rid of the cobwebs, get rid of the dark stuff, the negativity. And so if you believe in God and you believe that God is this being of love, and it makes sense to me that when we purge ourselves and we become available, that divinity begins to seat itself in our very, very being.
Okay. And for those people who are watching out here and they say, okay, this author's coming on the TV now, he's saying he heard this voice, and let's say, they're just cynical, they don't believe that it happened. Why should they read this book, and what would they get out of reading your book?
Read it as a fiction.
Okay.
Read it just for the entertainment of just reading a book. That's fun.
Mm-hmm.
If you extract the nectar from it, fantastic. If not, it's just a fiction.
And I guess the hope would be that you would be able to bring them over and get to realize what happened to you.
My hope would be that they just become happy.
Okay.
It's not to convert anyone into anything. It's to empower them so you can create your life. And if you take one piece of information from 350 pages, and that information stays with you the rest of your life, I'm satisfied.
Okay. So I guess the purpose is just to make people overall happy and feel better about themselves.
Aware of who they really are at their essence. And the power. I mean, the power that lives in here, that lies here, creates worlds.
Okay.
And it's just an act of wanting it bad enough. There's work involved, but after you do the work for a while, your life becomes an unfoldment of least effort.
Now, you said you're back in Homer. You're living in Nashville now?
Memphis.
Memphis now. Back in Homer, you're going to be giving a talk this week. When's the talk, and what will it be about?
The talk's going to be Thursday night at the main library by the Civic Center, the new building. 7 o'clock, maybe if you want to get there a little earlier, I'm going to do a preview of a documentary movie that a company, Blue Cast Productions, from New York, they read the work. They said, we want to come to Memphis and do a documentary movie. So I'm going to preview some of that as well. So if you want to get there a little early, you can see that. But again, my whole point of my spiritual work is to empower people. I like seeing people happy, and it's just truly what I'm about. It's just.
What's next on the plate for Keith Blanchard at this point?
I have music coming out, Lavender Soul. We have 3 albums out. I have a workbook, which is doing the actual work to the divine principle. I have an inspirational thought for the day book that's out now. My son, Eden Sky, is the role model for a children's book series, Eden Sky Wonders Why, and the movie. So, now I'm working on a book about a journey. I went to India in 2000. So my life's full. I create. It's what I do.
Now, for those people who are interested in watching, how can they get a copy of the book? Where should they go?
You can go to divineprinciplebook.com, DIVINEPRINCIPLE book.com. There's over a dozen free gifts. Stay in contact with me. I'm all about interacting with people. It's what I'm about. I just love people.
Okay. And for the speech on Thursday night at 7 at the main library, any cost?
No.
Okay.
No.
So free to the public if you
Absolutely.
just want to come in.
Absolutely.
Keith, it was a pleasure to have you on the show. Good luck with everything, and
Thank you
we
very
hope you
much.
touch a few people.
Thank you.
All right.